The best way to sharpen any two-blade broadhead or any knife is with the paper wheels. You can pick up our proprietary paper wheels at www.bishoparchery.com. But if you're out in the middle of Africa with our 630 grain broadhead, it seems like overkill, but it's really not. It's the only choice for 1,000 on up grain arrow, and every dangerous game arrow out there is over 1,000 grains. So very easily, even with a 100 grain insert, you're going to be around 1,000 to 1,100 grains. Even with an 18-inch long footing, super stiff shaft with a ridiculous FOC on your arrow. But if you're out in the middle of Africa, you're not going to have electricity most likely, and the DMT diamond stones are the best way to go. You can also use a metal file. If you have a metal file, just be careful you don't want to go both ways across the back side of the bevel with a metal file. Even the black coarse file, you have to be careful. If you want to go back and forth, you want to get to the coarse, the blue side, just because you don't want any edge chatter. We work really hard to make sure there is no edge chatter. We have 40-degree bevel and a whole different kind of tool steel that holds up like no other. So you don't want to take a metal file and start going back and forth. You get up into the coarse blue diamond stone, and that's where you could do that. This head in particular has been shot into just about everything. Don't handle the heads at home like this, but this head is dull. It's been shot into dirt, tile, bones, plate steel, ballistic gel. Dirt's probably dulled it more than anything, and you can get these sharpened in about the time it would take to change some disposable bladed broadheads that are made of a much softer steel, stainless steel. The proprietary S7 tool steel and 41L40 tool steel that we have is unmatched. The raw materials cost more than several broadheads out there, and not every double bevel broadhead is equal, and not every single bevel broadhead is equal. If you have a single bevel broadhead, it needs to spin, and it needs to have edge retention, or there's no reason to shoot one. So our patent pending broadheads spin like no other and have great edge retention. The same with the sharpeners. They're not all equal. DMT is the top of the line diamond stone sharpener. Pick some up today. These sharpeners could easily fit in your pack. You can put the credit card sharpeners in your wallet for redundancy. If you have one, you have none. If you have two, you have one. That's the outdoor survival saying, and it's really important to be prepared and do it with a lightweight setup. So check out these diamond sharpeners, and we'll see if we can't sharpen this broadhead really quickly. You're going to want to start with the black side. That's the extra coarse. And you're just going to follow the bevel. That's all you're going to do. And then you could take off the back side, but with the black extra coarse, you got to be careful. You probably don't want to go into the broadhead quite yet. The files especially, you don't want to do that. The blue is coarse on all the DMT products. All you're trying to do is build up a wire edge on the back side. Do most of your work on the bevel side. And our broadheads are super thick. If you could print your name, you could sharpen these broadheads. If you have the fine motor skills to print your name. And with the blue, you can go back and forth like this. With the black, I wouldn't do that. You also try to take off the burr on this side. You don't want to turn it into a double bevel. You don't want to do too much work on this back side. When you get into the red, and normally I'd be testing these and as we go, but for time's sake, we're going to run out of time on the YouTube video. When you get into the red, you can actually when you get into the red, and that's on the same on all the DMT sharpeners, you can go back and forth, at least on the tool steel broadheads. Stainless steel, I don't know. And you could, by the time you get into the red, you can do just about anything you want. And all I'm doing now is polishing the bevel. And it's sitting right on that bevel. People say it's harder to sharpen a single bevel broadhead. It's not. The bevel's huge, and you do all the work on the bevel side. I don't know how you'd miss this bevel. This 315 grain broadhead is super thick, and same on the back side. You can go back and forth with even the blue course. You can. The black, I don't know if that's a great idea. And then once you get it there, you can really polish it with the green, and you can do these, which is extra fine. You can do these, however you want. You're just trying to stay on the bevel. You can do these wet, or you can do them dry. And if you do it wet, you can just carry a water bottle. You drop a dish soap in there, and that's really nice, but it's extra weight in your pack. Same thing, you put a Sharpie marker in your pack, but it's extra weight. The credit cards do the same thing, just they're not as convenient to hold on to, but for the weight of them, to put in a pack or to put in your wallet, they're hard to beat. So they're nice to have in case you lose your day pack or you're away from your day pack. You can use the credit card sharpeners. And by the time you get to the green, extra fine, you can go in about any direction you want, just as long as you're staying on that bevel. And this was a super dull broadhead shot into plate steel metal. Don't do this at home. Don't try this at home. Plate steel, it's shaven hair. I don't know if you can see on this phone. Plate steel, tiles, bone, dirt. And just with a DMT, it's not as fast as the paper wheels, but it's pretty fast. And we're shaving hair sharp. It's not hanging hair sharp, but it's shaven sharp. It's shaven hair. And so, if you're scared to sharpen your broadheads and you need to get disposable blade broadheads, and you've bought into the social engineering that's going on in the broadhead industry, we don't have 89-cent broadheads that cost us 89 cents, an $8 clamshell package. The raw material is about $85 just for these heads. And when you look at structural integrity, when you look at spin rates and rotation and the devastation that these broadheads inflict on game, they're really hard to beat. So your $1,000 bow never touches the animal. You don't throw your $1,500 carbon bow at the animal, but the broadhead does. So think about changing the way you think about broadheads and how much you want to invest in broadheads, be it $29.95 for 6 broadheads or $49.99 for a 3-pack of broadheads that actually cost the manufacturer 89 cents to produce with multiple parts. Just think about that the next time you go to a pro shop and you're looking at the choices and the broadheads and where you want to put your resources, because it's great to have the best gear out there, but like I say, the bow never touches the animal, but the broadhead and the arrow does. So check out our single bevel broadheads, the patent pending dicing drill in 100 to 150 grains, and check out the 175 to 315 grain scientific methods. And if you're going over to Africa or you shoot traditional gear and you shoot a 1,000 grain arrow, this 630 grain broadhead is your only choice. There's nothing like it on earth. The biggest problem you're going to have is trying to get it out of the target when you shoot it into your broadhead target to practice. Thickest broadhead ever made, and the way that it spins in any kind of medium is unmatched.